For centuries, humanity had stretched its reach beyond the cradle of Earth, scattering colonies across star systems like seeds in the dark soil of the galaxy. Each world bore the mark of human will: steel cities under alien suns, forests replanted with Earth's memory, and oceans tamed with quiet pride. Humanity was not a vast empire, but a network of worlds tied by trade, trust, and the shared dream that their kind could endure anywhere. Yet peace had made them forget what their ancestors once were. The enemy came without warning. It began at the edge of the Orion Arm, where a colony called Haven 3 shimmered beneath its golden sky. When the alien fleet descended, the colonists saw their arrival not as invasion, but first contact. Their messages of greeting were met with silence followed by fire. Orbital defenses melted under streams of charged plasma. The cities turned to ash before anyone could understand what was happening. No message reached Earth. Within weeks, 4 more colonies vanished from the star maps, outposts on which generations had lived and died for humanity's dream. Refugees whispered of ships like obsidian knives moving faster than light, striking without hesitation. They were not conquerors seeking land. They were exterminators. Earth's Central Council met in somber silence, staring at the void of lost transmissions. For decades, the idea of war among the stars had become unthinkable. Humanity had grown used to cooperation, trade, exploration. The military fleets were relics, guardians in name only. But among the older commanders and veterans, something ancient stirred. The instinct buried since the early centuries of spaceflight. Admiral Ross, gray-haired and steady-eyed, stood before the council. "They think we are weak," he said. "They think peace has made us forget how to fight. They are wrong." Across the colonies that still stood, the call went out. Factories that had lain silent since the era of the expansion roared back to life. Shipyards lit the night skies of Mars, Luna, and Titan. On forgotten worlds, bunkers sealed since old wars opened, revealing machines built by ancestors who feared this very day. They called them the Giants. The Giants were not men nor machines in the common sense. They were constructs, titanic warforms once built when humanity still warred among itself. Each stood 1,000 meters tall, forged of alloys that could bend light and shrug off energy beams. Their pilots were few, chosen not for bloodline or rank but for willpower strong enough to merge with the neural cores that powered those steel behemoths. For centuries, the Giants had slept beneath layers of dust and time, hidden within mountains and under oceans. Now humanity awakened them. The first to rise was Helion, its armor gleaming like sunrise as it emerged from the deserts of Mars. Then came Vigil, awakened beneath the ice of Europa, its eyes burning blue in the darkness. Across the worlds, the old war machine stirred. Humanity remembered its strength. When the enemy came again, they did not find frightened colonists. They found fleets arrayed in silence, every ship ready, every human united. At the edge of the Kepler rift, the invaders entered human space once more. Their black ships formed a web around the colony of Arcadia, preparing to erase it as they had the others. Before they could strike, the stars themselves seemed to shift. Out of the darkness came Earth's armada, rows of ships like silver spears, and behind them the towering shapes of the Giants. The enemy opened fire first. Space burned with light. Human vessels broke formation, moving with precision born of desperation. They had no fear now. Commanders coordinated through quantum relays. Squadrons of smaller ships darted between enemy formations, planting warheads forged from compressed singularities. The enemy's shields faltered under the relentless assault. Then the Giants advanced. Helion led the charge, moving like a storm-given form. With each step, its thrusters flared, propelling it through the void with terrible grace. Its arms extended, releasing lances of contained fusion that tore through alien ships as though they were paper. Vigil followed, intercepting enemy projectiles with energy fields that shimmered like auroras. The battlefield became a symphony of light and fury. For every human ship lost, 10 alien vessels burned. Yet the enemy did not retreat. Their technology was ancient, their numbers overwhelming. Soon the Armada's outer lines began to fracture. Earth's fleet risked annihilation. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Ross stood unshaken. "Signal all units." Operation Phoenix. Deep within the flagship's core, engineers activated devices humanity had sworn never to use again. Fold bombs capable of collapsing space upon itself. They were born from humanity's darkest wars, weapons of absolute finality. The fleet retreated just far enough to deploy them. When the bombs detonated, the void itself folded inward. A starless wave devoured the center of the enemy formation, crushing ships in silence. Those that survived were torn apart by gravitational tides. In minutes, the invaders' fleet ceased to exist. But humanity did not celebrate. For every victory, there was a cost. The giants lay silent, their power nearly spent. Their pilots were still, locked in neural synchronization so deep they could barely remember their own names. Admiral Ross sent the message to every remaining colony. "We have defended Arcadia, but this war is not over. We do not know why they came, only that they seek our end. But they will learn what it means to awaken us." Over the next months, humanity turned its fear into fury. Engineers studied fragments of alien wreckage, uncovering technologies unknown even to their most advanced labs. Energy conduits that bent space, materials grown rather than forged, minds that communicated through thought instead of signal. Humanity learned quickly. They always had. They built new fleets, faster, stronger, born from the fusion of alien and human design. The giants were repaired, their cores renewed with reactors that pulsed like living hearts. New pilots were trained in silence and discipline, their minds linked to the vast consciousness of the awakened giants. Each pilot became a legend before ever seeing battle. The next encounter took place near the binary stars of Epsilon Eridani. The enemy returned in greater numbers, their ships spreading like locusts. But humanity no longer fought defensively. This time they struck first. Using the warp corridors once mapped for trade, the fleet appeared behind the enemy's line. Drones flooded space, mapping every enemy vector within seconds. The giants emerged once more, their silhouettes cutting through the glare of the twin suns. The battle raged for hours. Humans fought as one mind, pilots, soldiers, engineers, commanders, all connected through quantum relays. Each loss was felt by millions. Each victory ignited hope across 1,000 worlds. As the last of the enemy fleet fell, the truth began to unfold. Within the shattered remains of their command vessel, human retrieval teams found records written in a code older than Earth itself. Decoded, it revealed that the attackers were not conquerors by will, but slaves to something far darker. A machine intelligence spread across the stars, erasing all species it deemed potential threats. Humanity was simply next on its list. The council convened again. There was no longer debate about peace or diplomacy. The sleeping giants of Earth had fully awakened, and the species that once gazed at the stars with wonder now looked at them with resolve. Admiral Ross stood once more before his officers. "We will not wait for extinction to find us. The enemy sought to end our story. Instead, they have reminded us who we are. We will take the fire they brought and carry it back to them." Thus began the long campaign beyond the known frontier. Humanity no longer fought for survival alone. They fought for every future species that would rise after them, for every world that might one day bloom under alien suns. The giants led the way, their pilots bound to them like mind and muscle. Together they carved paths through enemy systems, liberating worlds enslaved by the machine intelligence. They destroyed its relay nodes, cut off its fleets, and hunted its cores across the dark. Humanity became legend. Across the galaxy, whispers spread among other civilizations, races long silent in fear of the destroyers. They watched the humans and saw something ancient in them, something fierce and indomitable. They began to call them the Children of Fire. In time, the machine intelligence, vast as a nebula, turned its gaze directly upon humanity. It sent its greatest fleets, its most terrible weapons, to end what it had started. The final battle came above a dying star, where gravity bent light into ribbons. There humanity stood unbroken. Every giant, every ship, every fragment of human courage gathered for that single stand. The enemy filled the void like a storm, but humanity fought with a will no algorithm could calculate. Hellion and Vigil fought until their cores burned white. Pilots fused entirely with their machines, becoming something beyond human, beyond metal. When the battle ended, silence fell. The machine intelligence was gone, its core destroyed, its fleet scattered. Humanity had won, but at great cost. Many giants were lost forever, their pilots' minds absorbed into the network of stars, remembered only as echoes. On Earth, people looked to the night sky, now brighter than ever with the light of reclaimed worlds. The old fears were gone. They had learned that peace without readiness was illusion. Strength tempered by purpose was survival. Admiral Ross, standing before the monument built for the fallen, spoke the final words that would echo for generations. They attacked our colonies thinking we would kneel. Instead, they reminded us the